It's been a while. Paulius here. I am the sole owner and the only one working in the company Baltic Blaze. Baltic Blaze specializes in knife making, and I'm the one who is talking in front of the camera. I'm the one who is doing the marketing. I'm the one who is grinding the knives, and I'm the one who is developing and shipping them out. So I am using this format of highlights, a long format video, just to talk about my business, share the story, and share the development of it. So I would find it interesting. Hopefully you will also find it interesting, and I use it as a space, as a medium in long format, just to talk about some nerdy details about the knife that I am developing, how I am developing, and the changes that I am doing. So the topics that will be covered today is, of course, one of the most important, and we will get right into it, is the release of my flagship knife, the second generation of Varnas. I am really proud of this knife. For 2 years, the first generation collected all of its feedback from very intensive users in many different fields, and I implemented most of that feedback into this knife, and I think I came to one of the best knives that I've developed to date, and I cannot wait to tell you about the changes and the philosophy behind it. So we will be talking about it, and when this video releases, it is available. It is available for purchase, so this is also a celebratory video. The second will be, we'll talk a small change to my Angis scalpel EDC. Third one is how I run my business and the variety of steel that I am offering. And that will be a kind of big one and interesting one, I think, especially for customers looking for some collectibles. Fourth one will be about distribution. Fifth, podcasts. It's been a while since we talked. A lot of things have changed, so I can't wait to break the news to you if you haven't heard it already. Sixth one is the 2026 to early 2027 changes to my business, and that will be an interesting topic to talk. And seventh, of course, knife shows and Knifeshow Austria. So find a nice comfortable spot, grab a glass of whatever, beer, cup of tea, cup of coffee, sit down and relax, and let's talk business and knives. Let's get right into it. Varnas 2.0, the second generation, the second version of my best-selling fixed blade knife, one of my flagship knives. I think I put most of my best engineering and ergonomic knowledge and edge geometry that I can do into this knife to make a wonderful compact package. Let's get the main details out. So if you want to go way deeper into the changes, you will have just to wait a little bit. So it will cost 250 euros. The link is in the description. It comes as of now. It will be always in stock in N690, and it will be around between 61 and 62 HRC. A wonderful stainless steel that holds a great edge and is super easy to sharpen. My idea is that if you are using your knives, they will definitely get dull, and it is easier and better to have a steel that it is easy to resharpen, doesn't have a lot of vanadium carbides, and you are in struggle in the field to getting that baby sharp. So it is a very great, dependable, and great edge holding steel. There will be two versions of this knife. On the website, there will be the general Varnas that will come in 4 variants, I think. A camo G10, I think it looks wonderful, really puts together the knife, and it is coming with black screws. There will be also a black G10 that will also come with black screws, and there will be green G10 that will come with satin screws, and the brown canvas micarta that is coming with satin screws. Green canvas micarta and double black canvas micarta will be added a little bit later in the lineup. Sadly, I cannot say when. And there will be a second version that is called Varnas 2.0 Karys, which means warrior. And this knife is specifically made for the Karys version, is for military serving or Lithuanian serving men and women. So they will be able to get 20% discount on that knife, and the handle will be different. It will have engraved the columns of Gediminas, which is one of the national symbols of Lithuania. They are eligible for that discount, steep discount for if they can prove that they are serving, and also people that know them are eligible. So I am trying to create this fear of not only people who are serving our country to be happy, but also the people who know those people in close circle. And also this adds the ability, if they want to gift it as a present to that person, So, you know, it's my way of giving back. And the Carice version will be only available with green G10 and black G10. And of course, the green G10 will have satin screws and black G10 will have black screws. First of all, just to tell you, the main idea with the SFK, with Varnas Generation 1 and now with Varnas Generation 2, is to offer a very compact package that offers a lot of capabilities, that is balanced for military serving people and intensive bushcrafters. And basically, intense outdoor use, maybe you are a farmer, maybe you are a bushcrafter, maybe you are an auto mechanic, or maybe you serve in the military. This should be your go-to knife, at least in my mind. And I try to go with this ethos and with this main idea with this knife, and to make it as universal and as good as possible in these jobs that I mentioned. And going from the first generations of this one, since the first generation of Varnas was released, it was 2 years of gathering feedback from military guys, from Special Operation Forces, from Border Patrol, and from, of course, intensive bushcrafters. And this is on me. Basically, I tend to push my clients to say anything negative, even if they think it's very subjective or minute. But in my mind, I am the filter who filters out what is subjective, what is universal, what could be actually an improvement in the knife. So it took me 2 years. And since last November, it was out of stock, the first generation of Varnas, because I thought it will take a little bit less time to develop it properly. But R&D just eats money and eats time, and it took me almost close to 7 months, but in generally I would say the intensive work was done in 4 months, and basically just developing and making a better sheath, a better ergonomics, a better blade, and adding all of that feedback into that knife to make it cohesive and really great. It took a lot of time, and I will tell you all about all of these small details. So looking just right at the knife, it is actually a smaller overall package than the first generation of Varnas, just because I was able to make the sheath smaller, and the actual blade is just 10 millimeters or a little bit under 10 millimeters bigger. So the blade portion is a little bit bigger and the handle portion is a little bit bigger. And okay, let's just start with the sheath itself. What I did remove was the small flaps for your thumb rest, because I noticed that they were not really necessary. If you have 4 millimeters of kydex there, it is pretty good enough, and your thumb does not get numb enough, or it just does not matter if you get the retention correctly. And I try to do it with variable geometry, so it is easy to put in, but it is harder to pull out. So it is really, really secure. And this removed the cross section and removed a process in my mind that was really unnecessary. One of the most improvements that helped with the reduction of size of the sheath was the changing of the drain hole. The drain hole before was like a tube that was going out through the tip in both sheets of kydex that are pancaked together. And then these bottom eyelets really went down, so we have proper clamping force. And this made the whole sheath a little bit longer. So now there is only a drain hole on one side where you can see the tip of the knife, and the eyelets are moved a little bit up. So we have a shorter sheath and a little bit narrower sheath, just because I try to nail the tolerances between the eyelets and the adequate pressure for the kydex sheaths. And I think the end result is really great. The belt loop is totally the same, but these are not backwards compatible, just because the sheath itself is a little bit narrower, so the spacing for the holes is a little bit different on the horizontal. So you won't be able to interchange. The sheaths are not interchangeable with the first generation, but all second generation Varnas fits the same sheaths. So if you lose your sheath, or you ruin it with a heat gun, or you drill some holes and you see that, whoops, I fucked up, you just, write me. I can sell you another sheath and it will work just as good as the first one that you got, without any need for you sending in the knife and me making a custom mold again. So I think I got a really big upper edge here from custom makers, and I'm really trying to push people to use their knives and not be afraid to break something, because I'm there for you, we can fix some stuff, and that works just great. Also, I managed in the smaller package, I managed to keep all of the mounting holes the same. The spacing is the same, so it will fit, I would guess, 90% of all mounting options that are out there in the market. So if you don't want to use the belt hanger that is included, you can buy ulti clips, tech locks, any mole attachments. These will work just great and just fine with this sheath. And also I added some grooves to added flexibility. So if you have something really custom, a custom mounting option, the grooves will most probably work. If it is too wide, you can just add it crooked and these holes will line up. Or if you want, you can wrap some paracord around, just gives you that flexibility, or a fire steel holder, which might be also coming as a default option in my store. So, and there was a lot of actual work with the retention itself, and there is a lot of things that are ongoing on here with the geometry. First of all, I did not want the sheath to go way up on the knife, so we have a huge trough. If you are crawling in the mud, this trough tends to collect all of the mud, all of the bad things that will scratch up your blade. And also the geometry here is made so when you are putting in the knife, it is actually adjusting the knife. So if you are putting it like this, it will tend to move the blade upwards. So there is no way, just because how the geometry engages, there is no way that you will catch an edge on the kydex and cut in the kydex. And the spine of the knife should be rubbing on the top of the blade. So also there is inherent tolerance and spacing inside of the kydex sheath. So if you get any dirt or grime inside of it, there is at least a little bit of space for it not to totally scratch up your blade. And thanks to the drain hole, you can just wash it out and everything will come out. Or if you have some compressed air, you can just put a nozzle here and blow out everything outside. So I think the sheath and the retention really took a lot of time, and I'm really proud how it came out. And I think it's just a great addition and improvement. It might not look like a big upgrade in the first glance, but in my mind there is a lot of engineering going inside of this sheath, and exceptionally the contouring on the blade, like the total shape of the knife in the sheath. It is actually made rounded. It's not flat, because I've seen a lot of customers, they tend to take the sheath and they tend to press it on the sides and pull it out, and it does not matter how much tolerance you add to the sides, so the blade does not scratch. If a big guy is putting a lot of force just to hold it, it tends to bend in. So by creating a rounded geometry, it creates a geometry that is not so inclined with bending, and it protects your knife even if you are trying to misuse the sheath itself. Now, what we've done with the sheath, let's talk all about the blade. So the blade has changed a little bit, and thanks to the feedback, a lot of people wanted a sharper tip. So there is a little bit less belly and the tip is a little bit sharper, and we gain a little bit of length in the blade. In general, this is I think, more universal blade than we got on the first generation of Varnas. Of course, due to the feedback, the first generation had satin flats, satin bevels, and now they will be all sandblasted, just because most of the feedback that I got was from military guys, and they don't like the glare, and I think their feedback is kind of valid, and for me it is important, what do they want, what is actually mattering to them. So these will be sandblasted. I hope in the future to get a professional tumbler, I think maybe this summer, just because the sandblasting actually kinda hides all of the fine details that I put in the grinding, and I like my straight lines, sharp lines on the bevel, and the tumbler will bring those out without adding too much glare, and maybe I will be able to do some interesting stone washing that is not too uncommon in the industry, but I really like the look, and I think a lot of people will also dig it. But from now on, they are coming in totally sandblasted look. And talking about the geometry, still I am going for a very thin grind for an outdoors bushcrafting knife. Just in my mind, my philosophy, knife is a cutting tool first. And if you want to use it as a pry bar and you try to optimize it to be a sharp pry bar, you won't get a good knife and a good pry bar. So my philosophy is just make it as good as possible in the knife region. And if people in some tactical intense situation, they have to misuse it, let them be, it's fine. You have to do what you have to do. But this will be a cutting tool first that is very pleasant to use. It is always on you because the sheath is pretty small and it is easy to carry, lots of mounting options. And you will use it 99% for cutting tasks. So it's fine. And also my warranty is, again, as I said, with the sheets, the same goes with the blades and the knives itself, is that if I sharpen my Baltic Blades knife just for free, you just have to pay the shipping. And if you have any like chipping or you break the tip of the knife, just write me a DM, write me an email, and we can work some stuff out and maybe I can fix it. It's not like the policy that, oh, you broke it, you are at fault, just buy a new knife. I'm all up to maintenance on the knives. And the same goes with the handle scales. All handle scales for all Varnas second generation are interchangeable and intercompatible. So if you lose it or you want a separate set or whatever be the reason, you can purchase a separate set separately from any material you would like. If it is not something custom from my ordering list, we can just work out the deal to make it from a more fancier material, which is also fine. So these are interchangeable. These are Torx T20 screws that are very, very common. And of course, their longevity is so great. And of course, they are stainless because I want this to be as little maintenance as possible. And I think in the blade region, again, what I did not change is the sharp spine. So you can do any fire steel striking. Again, some people tend to use the choil for fire steel striking. And this is why this is full, like 8 millimeters, which is a good medium size for a fire steel. I know that there are sizes that go up to 10 millimeters and there are 6 millimeters, but this covers 8 and 6 millimeters. You can also use the jimping. And I think having a round radius for striking really increases the longevity of your fire steel because you don't create the flat spots as you would do with the spine. So the spine is also good for scraping, firewood scraping, whatever you want to scrape because it's a sharp 90 degrees. Another change that I did due to the feedback from military guys was the jimping is not rounded, so it is also 90 degrees. They really, really dig it, and especially if you are operating and working in your work with work gloves, this really increases the grip and they don't seem as slippery. Yet still you have pretty big radiuses, so I am pretty confident that they are not creating any too big of a weak spot in the blade itself. If you need to do some bending, what happens, that happens. Now, going on the handle scales, there are a lot of changes down here, even if it does not look like. First of all, the metal tang finger guard that is sticking down below, it is way below the edge line, so your fingers are instantly protected for any slipping if you do any hardcore, prying, stabbing, or whatever. There is very little possibility that your hand will slip forward. Also, the handle scale is different from the first version just because we have it going way lower and the fixation of your index finger is way bigger. And in general, I think it just feels way more secure. Even though you cannot choke a snare as before, but it's still pretty close. You can see how close I can get with my hand to do some power carving or something like that. Now, one of the biggest changes to the handle is the Coke bottle shape. It is closer now to the classical Coke bottle shape. As before, we had only the bottom concavity, and in the top of the handle it was pretty flat. And it was because my idea is when we are doing carving like this and we are putting a lot of torque, you don't want to be your two first fingers, the index and the middle finger, to be, at least I call it floating. And floating is when one of your like index finger is not getting as good grip, as big of a contact with the front scale, and then you have some inherent looseness in the knife in your hand because only 3 fingers from 4 or only 2 fingers are fixating it in your arm. And this small microscopic rubbing in your hand really creates big hotspots, and this is a big no-no in my mind. So that is why I did it like that in the very first generation, and now in the second generation it is closer to a more classical Coke bottle shape. But it went a lot into it went a lot of engineering because first, again, as I mentioned, I wanted to reduce the possibility of finger slipping and increase the grip on the knife in your hand. So there is a very slight concavity right here at the top, and it is not uniformly, so it made specifically for the sheath retention to be easy to put in, a little bit harder to pull out. And it took a lot of time to find a great balance where you have that indent, but your index finger is not floating. You have very good grip, very secure grip. And I think in this generation, I managed to get both, to reduce even more the possibility of twisting in your arm when you are doing carving, and also increase the grip and secureness in your hand. And now the bottom concavity is a little bit smaller. It's not as pronounced as in the past. It was way more pronounced to compensate for no concavity in the top. And being more subtle, your 2 last fingers, the ring finger and the pinky finger, are not floating at all, also in the handle. Now going to the sides of the handle, what I changed is also really important, because the radius is a little bit bigger, less shallow, so it is more pronounced, and the handle itself feels bigger in your hand. And actually the handle scales are, there is one radius like this, another radius like this, and then the back side of the scale is another radius. So it does not feel like a square, like you're holding a square in your hand. It's really comfortable, and it really adds to the ergonomics. And then with having more pronounced sides of the handle scale, it is also adding to the security of the grip, and it feels really comfortable. And especially the balance itself with G10 scales and the cutout in the tang. I think this blade feels way lighter than it actually is, because the balance is just right. And it feels like generally an extension of your arm, a tool that you need, that you will get, and you will just do work, and it will work for you, and you will not work with a knife, you know. So yeah, these are the updates to the handle scales. Just to summarize it all, I think we have a bigger blade that feels lighter, that is more capable, that is more comfortable, a sheath that is smaller yet with better retention, better longevity, the same mounting options. And I think overall this is a better package than it was before. And thanks all to you with your feedback and the ability to make just, you know, you being honest with me and me being honest with you. Just making the best knife that I could. And I think this is really one of the flagship knife, actually. This is the best knife that I've ever done that is going into the production. And It is currently just available with these sets of handle scales. If you want something really custom, let's say ironwood handle scales, stabilized birch, fat carbon, or anything else, or very specific G10, you will have to write me in my email, info@balticblades.com, or you can find me on Instagram or maybe Facebook, and we can work it out. I am able to offer the second generation at the same price that the first generation was. It is 250 euros, just because I'm scaling up my production. And if you want something custom, this adds a little bit more work to my, forte. And then I will have to get these materials separately at a little bit bigger price than buying in bulk. And then in the end, the knife will be a little bit more expensive, but it will be a custom build. If you want a little bit different finish on the blade, this is also a go, but you will have to DM me. But if you are satisfied with the price and the options that are on the website, please feel free, you can buy it. And hopefully I'm able to keep them always in stock. And yeah, and just please remember, these have all warranties. Even if you do something that is crazy and you just break it in half, maybe I'm able to reform the tip and you can use it as a small knife, which is fine. I won't leave you in a trouble time. And I think this really goes with the maintainability. And even collectors, when they come up to me in knife shows, they say, oh, I'll never use the knife, it will be in the cabinet. And I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Just, I will not sell you the knife if you do not intend to use it. This is not a showpiece. This is a workhorse. And through vigorous, hard labor, you can find the faults in there. And then if you find any, please write me, and I will try and continue collect all of this feedback for the years to come. And maybe in the future, in 2-3 years, there will be a third version of it that will be even better. But as of now, Varnas 2.0 is the best knife that I make, and I am really, really proud of it, and I hope you will all enjoy it as much as I enjoy it. For the other topics, the second one is a small Angis update, which is my small EDC scalpel. Again, it is going over some small changes, and it will be a very small one. I'm just removing the jimping. I think it will look better. The jimping is not, in the end, not as functional as I would like, and it just kind of overcomplicates the design, and so it will be removed. You will get just, I think I got a batch like of 20 or something like that, still in the stock. So if you want, you can get some that still got the jimping, but in the future it will be only available without the jimping, because it just looks better and it is more functional in that way, I think. So that is a small update, and with that we can a little bit segue in a topic that I did not mention, is the sheath design. At least in the future, I think I will be doing, and I am developing a process with creating taco design sheaths. If you, sorry for that, if you look at this, these are called pancake design sheaths. So these are made from 2 sides of kydex. And a taco design is something that you got from one piece of kydex, which is basically bent, and you don't have this ridge up top. And I think for my Angis variant and small EDC knives, this will be very beneficial in reducing the, you lose a little bit of mounting options, which is kind of sad, but you reduce the profile of the knife itself, and it is way more carryable. So it's very hard to work it out perfectly as I want, so that every sheath fits basically every knife with the exactly same retention, which is very hard. You get to get things very, very dialed in, and especially kydex is a thermoplastic that is, when heated up, it is bendable, stretchable, so it is very hard to predict what it will do in different geometries. So I'm still in the works in the R&D. It will probably take some time, but I think the benefit is there. So hopefully I will be able to roll it out to first my Angis EDC, and then my Iltis, the middle ground between the Varnas and Iltis and Angis knives. Hopefully this year, hopefully fingers crossed, but we will have to see. But this is in the works. Some people were asking for it, so yeah, that is in the works. And now for the steel changes and how I do the selling of the knives. With running this business, I noticed that keeping in stock multiple variants of the same knife in different kind of steels is really it's a ton of work, a ton of logistics, and sometimes it is very hard to keep something in stock. Maybe there is a delay in the specific steel that is made in the factory, and it is hard, and it is putting unneeded pressure, and also it limits me again to keep both in stock. So I'm changing the way I'm running the business, and this is kind of big news. What I will do, all of my knives will be available in N690 fully, so there won't be out of stock. So every time you want to buy a knife from me, it will be available in N690. And then I will do some like drops and sprint runs, some small batches of very fancy steels, let's say M390, M398, S90V, MagnaCut or Magnamax. And these will be available on my website. I will do these, of course, I will do social media posts, and I will do newsletters, so you will get notice of it. And if you visit my site, you will see them in limited edition. And most probably these will have different finishes, so maybe they will have satin, or they will have some DLC coating or Cerakote on them, and some intricate handle material that is not available on the knives that are always in stock. So you will be getting something that it is quite exclusive, and this really allows me to buy smaller sheets of those steels and just do sprint runs, and I can play with different varieties of steel, maybe something that is extremely tough, something that has extremely high edge retention, and just offer these in my different models, because my Angis is using 2.5 millimeter stock, Iltis is using 3 millimeter stock, and Varnas is using 3.5 to 3.75 millimeter stock. So these are all different stocks, and these are easier to get in smaller sheets. It is cheaper on my end, it is smaller investment, and of course smaller investment of time, and this gives me the agility to offer different finishes, different handle materials, and smaller runs, and different steels that I think will be appealing to all of you. I promise, fingers crossed, that I won't spam your inbox with my newsletter. Most probably these will come out like 3 months apart, so you will, I don't send newsletters just to send them. There is some clear call to action, something new, something interesting. So I highly recommend, if you get them in spam, mark them as this is not spam, and even forward them into your primary box from promotions if you get them in promotions. So you will be on top of your game, or so you will know when the drops are coming. Or if you are very active on social media, you will see them in Instagram, Facebook, maybe YouTube, TikTok generally, but I do that content in Lithuanian. So just keep your eyes open. The next topic is distribution. So very short update. I am in the works with new distributors in Germany and Spain. It's still in the developing stages, so I don't want to call out the names if it does not work out in the end, but I'm very excited that the business is growing, the demand is growing, and these distributors are coming to me because they want to buy my knives, and this is all thanks to you, my dear customers and people who are following me, because of your good feedback, your social media presence, for you sharing my knives and tagging me and stuff. This really helps to grow the business, to get noticed by other people. And I couldn't preach enough, because currently Facebook and Instagram and TikTok thinks that I'm selling weapons. They are decreasing my reach, how many people see my knives. So every little bit really helps. So I am very thankful if you do that, if you write a review on my website, if you write a review on Google reviews, if you share it in your stories, make a post, make a reel or something like that, or just join my private Baltic Blades Brotherhood Facebook group and share your things there. I am more than ecstatic and appreciative, just because you do it because you like it and not because someone is forcing you to. So now, the next topic is podcasts. So if you were living under a rock, or maybe not, if you are not in the podcast scene, it's been, I think, more than a year since I joined the podcast of High Carbon podcast, where I am one of the hosts. The other two hosts is Keith Colby from knifematerial.at and Albert from Messerschmitt Salzburg. These are two my very good friends, and we are doing a weekly show, High Carbon podcast. You will find the link in the description of the video. We put out an episode almost every week where we interview different knife makers. We talk about knives, knife manufacturing, going to shows, and we all come from very different backgrounds. I am focusing more on manufacturing and doing batches, just doing, this Varnas model. I will sell a lot of pieces of it that will be somewhat identical to each other. Albert is more of the smith who is making one-off pieces in fine detail, very expensive and very detail-oriented pieces that are very, very custom tailored to the customer needs. And Keith is the knife material distributor, which of course I got this G10 from. So thank you, Keith, and thank you, Knife Material, for selling it to me. So yeah, High Carbon podcast, and we got some very big and nice guests like Benjamin Camone from Camon Knives, and also Trollsky was in the past, Fingal Ferguson, Gabe Fletcher, and I could just name a lot of people that are really inspiring as makers. So it is like 30% knife making and 70% shits and giggles. So we have a lot of fun on that. We try and put a lot of efforts in making it a high quality podcast that is also fun to listen to. And yeah, just go and listen to it. And if you are interested in knife making, and also it is fully in English, it is very funny to listen to a Lithuanian and two Austrians speaking with a German, and we are all speaking in all in English with our, it's not our mother language. So it's some funny things arise, it's fine. It's fun. I highly recommend it. And it's fun time for me. It's a big commitment. Every week I need to be recording, and it takes multiple hours, but it's being a part of this community, one of the makers, and talking with other makers, learning from each other, and just sharing tips and tricks how to make something better. This really allows us to grow as makers, the same as your feedback, as I mentioned before. And now for the big or somewhat news that is upcoming for the next year. So I covered that I will be doing taco sheath design. Also, there are two models coming this year. Hopefully this year, two new models. So I would like to make those before I am off to Knifeshow Austria, but one of those models is here right in the shot in this video, and you can see the prototype of it if you haven't noticed it. So there will be a smaller EDC knife, and then a full, you'll see what kind of knife when it's finished. It's a little bit different style that I am used to doing, but I really love the adventure of doing it. And now we come to the very last topic, which is Knifeshow Austria and knife shows in general. So last year I've been to the very first Knifeshow Austria, which is organized by my good friend Martin Huber from Martin Huber Knives. So it was a fantastic show. I met a lot of wonderful makers right there. I've met a lot of makers from Austria, Germany, and of course Poland. Met Trollsky, which was a very good impression. And we drink now. So it was hard. Not only because of the hangover, but the show was great. There were a lot of new customers there, and I've met a lot of my older customers there, made new ones. It was a very good time, very interesting. There were makers from all over the world, even from Australia and from Alaska. This year is also there is somebody coming from New Zealand, so it will be bigger and better. This year it will be on October 24th and 25th. So until October, I got quite a deadline to release the new models and to stock up on knives, and the journey to Austria is really nice. This year I also skipped Knifeshow Solingen. Maybe I will do it the next year, and there are quite some few shows in Europe that I will be willing to go to next year, so it will be quite interesting. This year is a year of innovation and creating new models, and these models were in refinement and creation for quite some time, and now it's time to release them, to put on the final strokes, to finish stuff finally. And then when I have a very nice and confident setup and lineup, then I will go into the world, and next year will be quite interesting. But for this year, I'm really excited about the Knifeshow Austria. So if you are from Germany or Austria, or you are thinking of going there on October 24th and 25th, please be my guest. Please come. I think all of the exhibitor spots are already taken, but if you are coming as a guest, please visit my table. We don't know yet the numbers of our tables, but just search for Baltic Blades. I think I will be this year again the only Lithuanian. As far as I understand, Martin Huber is really trying to weed out. He has this selection process where he picks the worthy ones, or at least that he thinks that are meeting the benchmark of the exhibition. So you won't see any Pakistani blades, any big resellers that are reselling China-made blades. You will be seeing a big selection of very interesting makers and a lot of very different blades from very interesting Damascus blades. My neighbor Gadovic from last year won the best outdoors knife competition in there, and I saw him putting on finishing touches and shining up the blade just before entering the competition. So and you can see like big Damascus blades, very interesting kitchen knives, very interesting EDC blades, and you can see all sorts of things. And of course, handle material sellers will be there. So it is a very cozy and interesting and fun attraction to go to, even if you are just a client. I highly recommend just meeting makers in in real life, and the passion is really something transferable, something contagious. And yeah, it's a very good show. So for me, it will take at least a week and a half of trip time, because after that, most probably I will take a week's vacation in Austria, and can't wait to drink some beer and eat Leberkäse, because it's the only delicious food in Austria. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. I know this is the most delicious food in Austria. Schnitzel, way too dry for my taste. And don't get me started on the dumpling soup. It is disgusting. I dare you to Google dumpling soup, Austrian dumpling soup. It's disgusting. So highly not recommended. So eat it on your own accord. And of course, they got some really good sweets. So that is enough. I really wanted to do a Q&A segment at the end of the video, but this is getting a lengthy video and I still have to edit it before the release of the knife. So sadly, we are keeping it a little bit shorter, but hopefully this year there will be a 4th episode of Baltic Blades highlights, depending on how the business is going, if I have any new updates. So if I need to project and commit to a timeline, it is most probably I will do one after Knifeshow Austria when I'm back, just because I don't want to get back into the work and I want to do something a little bit different than knives, talking knives a week and a half. It takes its toll. So thank you for coming. If you are listening until watching, look, you already know that I do a podcast if you are listening. If you are watching it until the very end, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, you do all that stuff, share this video around. If you are coming from my newsletter, thank you for subscribing to it, and thank you for following my work. I really appreciate it, because this is my day job, this is what I do, and I love what I do, and I'm really extremely excited about it. So it was I, Paulius, the founder and owner of Baltic Blades. Thank you for joining in, and talk to you soon.